Okay, in this video I want to talk about economic growth policy. There's a couple things that we can do in terms of shifting the aggregate demand curve out and then shifting aggregate supply, or there are things that we can do that will directly affect the aggregate supply curve. The first thing to do in terms of shifting aggregate demand is use expansionary monetary policy to ensure that there are low interest rates. And again, the goal here is going to be to have our aggregate demand curve grow at a slow but steady pace so that there is a healthy amount of inflation. And again, the Federal Reserve is targeting 2% inflation each year. So if there's anything above that, we might have concerns about inflation. But if there is a some inflation, if there's a little bit of inflation, that can be a healthy thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to pursue expansionary monetary policy. And then what we're going to end up with is lower interest rates. So we're going to have expansionary monetary policy, which is going to increase the supply of money. It's going to increase the supply of loanable funds. And it should decrease both the real and nominal interest rates and then increase investment spending. So we're going to have expansionary policy, which is going to lead to more investment spending. Now you're going to see a question along the lines of, will this lead to economic growth? And the short answer is yes, but there's more to it. And so if we have an increase in investment, this can lead to economic growth. If if that money that's spent within the investment spending is on increasing either capital or technology. If this money, if we're taking out loans and we're spending this money to increase our inventory, or if we're using this to pay back loans, that's not going to lead to economic growth. And again, we need to have an increase in our productive capacity. So paying off your old debts is not going to increase productive capacity. So this can lead to economic growth if the investment is spent on increases in capital or technology. If the investment is spent on capital, stock, or technology. The other things that can shift our aggregate supply curves out are going to be a combination of any of these policies here. Let me get this in the right spot. What we're going to want to do is shift both aggregate supply curves, both the long run and the short run. And there's a couple things that you can do. Some of these are going to be a little bit more creative than others. The first thing, spending on education or spending on training. This is going to be referred to as human capital, what our skills are as humans or as workers. The other thing you can do is have some creative tax policies that might increase savings and increase investment, and R&D, which is short for research and development. There's a few things the government can do to promote this. If we have an increase in savings, then we're going to have a decrease in interest rates. So that's why we're looking to increase savings here. Obviously, increase investments so we can spend our money on capital and technology. And there can be some government programs to promote research and development in order to make new products and improve upon products that are already created. We can also spend money on infrastructure, roads, bridges, wireless technology, satellites. All of those things might help us increase our ability to produce goods and services. If there's a lack or a decrease in regulations, that's another thing that we can do in order to produce more and to produce more efficiently. And the last thing, international trade agreements, where we have the ability to make more now because there might be more buyers. And so that's one other thing that we can do. And again, that goes back to international trade, where we might be able to make more through trade as opposed to if we are making things ourselves. Those are the policies that you can look to in order to promote economic growth. But the big thing goes back up here with low interest rates. So if you have low interest rates, that's the easiest policy, at least in terms of monetary policy or fiscal policy. However, low interest rates don't guarantee economic growth. There will be more investment, but that investment spending needs to be spent on capital or technology for there to be an increase in productive capacity and economic growth.